I'm Jim Crosslin. I'm a research plant pathologist with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or Agricultural Research Service. I work in Prosser, Washington, in the heart of the potato-producing region of the Columbia Basin. I've been involved in zebra chip research and psyllid research now for 6 or 7 years. I hope that we have learned something in all of this time about psyllids and zebra chip, and my presentation at this meeting was on the 4 years of testing that we have done for Liberibacter, the causal bacterium for zebra chip disease, in potato psyllids collected from a large section of the United States, stretching from the lower Rio Grande Valley of Texas all the way up to Canada this year. What we've tried to do is look at the incidence of the bacterium in these different populations of psyllids, how that might change over time, and how that might change with the various regions of the country. What we've learned, and it's become the most obvious, is that the highest incidence of the bacterium in the psyllids occurs in the lower Rio Grande Valley in February, March, and April of the year. And then as the season progresses and you move north through the testing areas of Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, Canada, Wisconsin, the incidence of the bacterium dramatically drops off. And that would suggest that as the psyllid populations migrate, if they are migrating from south to north, that they need a source of the bacterium. We don't know exactly what that source is. Don Henney has suggested that there is a source of Liberibacter somewhere in northern Texas, northern Mexico, and southern Texas. And that accounts for the relatively high incidence of Liberibacter bacterium in the psyllids from that area. And that source, whatever it is not present in the northern areas over time. We don't know that for sure, but that would support the observation that the incidence of the bacterium in the northern psyllids is much less than in the southern populations of Texas. And that was largely the information I presented today. I then threw out these ideas. Well, okay, if we're going to test psyllids, and my laboratory now has tested over 28,000 psyllids in 4 years, how much more testing do we do? What areas should we concentrate on? Should we concentrate just in the lower Rio Grande Valley? Should we increase the testing in Colorado and Kansas and Canada? These are questions that need to be worked out in terms of funding, the workload, which lab is going to do the testing, how much testing are we going to do. It's my personal opinion that we've learned a lot in the last 4 years, but I think we need to start looking beyond the areas that we have tested, and I think there's a real threat potential for psyllids and Liberibacter to move into areas in Florida and potentially into North Carolina, potato-producing areas. I think Florida is a definite threat because we have intercepted live psyllids with Liberibacter in them on peppers arriving into Florida from Mexico. So there is a real chance of introducing the insect and the bacterium into new areas such as Florida and North Carolina, where he would be perfectly happy in that mild climate of those areas. The other major threat area, I think, is Australia, but they know that. The Australians have research teams in New Zealand. They figure sooner or later they're going to get it. It made its way to New Zealand, and it can certainly make its way then over to Australia.